Hello friends, welcome back to Daily Movie Recaps. A new movie recapped, every single day. Today, we'll recap a 1998 American science fiction disaster film. Spoilers up ahead, so watch out. Enjoy the recap. It's a starry night of 1998, in Richmon, Virginia. We see amateur astronomers gathered, gazing through the telescopes. Leo Beiderman innocently asks his girlfriend, Sarah Hotchner, about another male student. Their teacher, Mr. Perry, questions them about the brighter stars. Leo correctly identifies two stars, but cannot name a smaller, dimmer star. Sarah argues, it is star Megrez, but he disagrees. Mr. Perry suggests they take a photograph and send it to Dr. Wolf. Dr. Wolf arrives for work. He finds a packet containing a photograph of the unknown star. He punches the stellar coordinates on the computer and sees on the screen that it is an uncharted object. Curious about it, he analyzes its position and calculates its trajectory. He sees that it is a comet whose projected path is on the solar system to strike Earth. Wolf saves all the data to a floppy disk and tries to send the information through email but gets server down errors. Dr. Wolf runs to his Jeep outside. While trying to call the Department of Planetary Sciences, his Jeep slams into a truck, causing it to knock off of the road and explodes, killing Wolf instantly. Washington, D.C., 1 year later. In a conference room, Stuart Cayley is discussing with a team of news reporters about the resignation of U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Alan Rittenhouse, because his wife is sick. Reporter Jenny Lerner claims to have found out from Mike Woodward in the Treasury that Mrs. Rittenhouse is an alcoholic. Jenny quickly asks her supervisor Beth Stanley of stepping into the anchor position in their weekend news broadcast, but Beth explains she needs more time to build herself up. Jenny meets her mother Robin Lerner, where she comes to know about her father Jason's courtship that morning. Then, Jenny meets with Patricia Ruiz, former assistant and secretary for Rittenhouse. She was fired, as she was not hired from within the federal pool, and because Rittenhouse was about to be found out to be cheating on his wife. She says she overheard the name, Ellie, over his private telephone line, and also tells Rittenhouse speaking about Ellie with the president. Along with a camera person in the news van, Jenny arrives on a small boat, where she asks Rittenhouse about Ellie and claims she knows everything. He asks to turn the camera off, and appeals that he wants to be with his family more. While driving down, a black car hits Jenny's car from behind. She is surrounded by other cars, and is forced to take the nearest exit. A man identifies himself as FBI, and takes her to their car. She finds herself in a kitchen, and meets Morton Entrican. President Tom Beck comes, informs Jenny that national security is at stake, and asks to tell the story, offering her front seat in their press conference. Jenny politely asks for the first press question at the conference. When she drops Ellie's name, Beck asks her about it, although he pronounces it ELE. Back in the office, Jenny searches ELE on the internet, and learns ELE stands for Extinction Level Event. The kind resulting from a severe global level catastrophe. Beth stops by to invite her to dinner. Jenny politely declines as she is scheduled to meet her father. The meeting with Jason and her stepmother Chloe goes badly, and Jenny is bitter about Jason's leaving Robin. Beth is surprised to find Jenny at the White House conference, and even more so when Entrican escorts Jenny to her reserved seat. President Beck makes the announcement of the comet. The comet is large enough to endanger all of human existence. In orbit above the Earth, a massive spacecraft, named the Messiah, is tasked to avoid direct contact of the comet with Earth. Beck sets up a video conference to introduce the crew of the Messiah, and calls Jenny for the first question. She directly questions Rittenhouse's resignation. Beck defensively answers that Rittenhouse served the country with devotion, and resigned for personal reasons. When questioned by another reporter about the comet being named Wolf Beiderman, Beck begins to explain about the astronomers. Leo is alive, watching the coverage, with his family. The door rings, and Leo finds Sarah there with her parents, and the whole neighborhood is beginning to converge on the Beiderman home, seeing that Leo is still alive. Leo quickly gains near celebrity status, as Newsweek publishes a story about him. Leo speaks on his school event, regarding Wolf sharing credit with Leo about the comet's discovery. 2 months later, the shuttle crew heads towards their initial destination. Cayley gives Jenny the news anchor position. The Messiah crew are making preparations to fly down to the comet's surface. Jenny begins her news program's coverage of the event. While descending, a few rocks hit the ship, but somehow they manage to bring the Messiah safely down. The moles prove to be unable to drill deeply into the comet's surface as quickly as needed. One of the moles gets stuck at 75 meters. They are at just over an hour and a half before sunrise. Despite warnings, Commander Monash descends into the shaft dug, and struggles to free the stuck mole. The stuck mole finally begins drilling again, and Commander Monash desperately climbs his tether cable. As the sun rises, outgases are beginning to explode through the comet's surface. A gas jet shoots Monash upward. The full brilliance of the sun shines into Monash's eyes. The rest of the crew reels him in. A crew member is blown out into open space, and lost. Tulchinsky vehemently argues to go after him. Tanner barely succeeds in persuading him that Potenza is lost, and all of them will die. Tanner has to order Baker to lift off with the cargo doors open, and close them as they go. Tanner activates the Orion boosters. However, the Messiah is still caught in the nuclear shockwave, and further damaged. President Beck goes on the air, to deliver the news that they only succeeded in breaking off a significantly large chunk of the comet. This is still heading straight toward Earth. The US has also been excavating shelter caverns in the limestone cliffs of Missouri, to use like a sort of Noah's Ark. This shelter will be able to contain 1 million people, and enough animal and plant life, to repopulate the Earth. 200,000 people have been pre-selected. Leaders, doctors, scientists, engineers, teachers, soldiers and artists. In 1 month, 800,000 additional people will be chosen from a national lottery. Beck declares martial law. Extremely strict midnight curfews are going into effect. Beck closes his segment with a prayer for human survival. Jenny's MSNBC News program explains the lottery procedure. The general lottery will exclude all people over the age of 50. Jenny's mother is also watching this broadcast. Leo and Sarah are watching the broadcast with their families. Leo's mother receives a call. The Beiderman family has been pre-selected. Tanner orders the Orion boosters engaged, and the Messiah begins to race to Earth. Leo goes to Sarah with good news. He's agreed with local civil defense liaisons that if Sarah marries Leo, she will be eligible for participation in the Ark evacuation, along with her family. As days continue to pass, Jenny continues to report on things going on in the country. Leo and Sarah get married. August 12th arrives. The Beiderman and Hotchner families wait for the military bus to pick them up. As Leo shows his identification and marriage license to the bus official checks and sees that Sarah's family members are not on the list. They force Leo and his family to board the bus. Sarah refuses to leave without her parents, and runs after the bus for a short distance, crying to Leo. Jenny receives a call when she gets in the office, that Robin has died. She collects the jewelry Robin was wearing when she was found. Jenny sits on a street bench, in the heavy rain, while Jason happens to pull alongside Jenny in his car. He mentions that Chloe has left him. Jenny cruelly yells at her father, before hailing a cab and riding off. The Beiderman family arrives at the Ark cave. As they head into the cave facilities, Leo grimly announces he is going back for Sarah. Leo tearfully hugs his parents, before he leaves. Jason goes to see Jenny, to tell her he's leaving Washington, and shows Jenny her childhood photos, and says goodbye. Leo has gotten himself a ride in a private truck. President Beck delivers the news that the missiles have failed to deflect the comets. The smaller fragment of the comet will strike in the Atlantic Ocean, causing all the cities nearby to wipe out. The main body of the comet will hit land in western Canada, where all the plants and animal life will die. On board the Messiah, Captain Tanner explains that outgassing has created a very large fissure vent in the comet's surface, leading well into its interior. They can use remaining warheads into the vent, to blow the comet into far too small pieces. The Messiah finally raises Houston Mission Control on audio, to get the arming codes for the remaining warheads. Unable to decide who must be left behind from Kaylee's news team, straws are drawn. Beth draws the short stick, hoping to stay with her daughter. Leo finds the Hotchner family has evacuated, and manages to take the motorbike to find Sarah. While the crew rush to board the helicopter, Jenny grabs Beth's daughter, and runs madly, while Beth rushes in anguish after her. Beth and her daughter are ushered aboard the helicopter, but Jenny stays there, gazing at the photos Jason gave her. Sarah spots Leo on the highway, and her father puts her and her baby sister on the motorbike. Leo races off the road. Jenny finds Jason on the beach, at their family house, and she finally makes peace and reconciles with her father. She hugs him, and snuggles close. The comet fragment breaks Earth's atmosphere. Everyone for miles can see it race out past the coastline, before it plunges deep into the Atlantic Ocean. Jenny gives a brief sob of fear, while hugging her father. The tsunami strikes the coastline, and begins its run of devastation. People are very quickly overtaken by the tsunami. We're treated to the obligatory scenario of New York City being destroyed. On the Virginia coast, People are screaming frantically in a mad rush for higher ground. Sarah's parents are holding each other for a final moment. Leo and Sarah race for higher ground among the hills. Messiah Crew's family members are on standby, and they say their final goodbyes tearfully. The warhead timers are set, and the crew calculate trajectory for the final interception run. They say farewell to each other. The warheads detonate, shattering the comet into millions of tiny fragments. Leo, Sarah, and Sarah's baby sister are among a group of several dozen people that have gotten to the top of the highest hill they could find, barely escaping the tsunami. They watch as the shattered fragments of comet create a firework-like light show in the sky. President Beck is delivering an impassioned speech to a huge crowd in Washington, D.C. Sometime later, after the waters of the Atlantic Ocean have receded and settled back into the ocean basin. President Beck tells his people that they must remember those who died for them and carry on with their rebuilding of the human way of life. The U.S. Capitol building is under reconstruction, as the people gathered there cheer. Please leave a comment or like, and don't forget to subscribe, and turn on your notifications. This way you'll never miss any movie recap again. Thanks for watching, and see you at the next movie recap.